The following podcast is a deep, shallow dive production.
And you're going to love it.
Okay, let's go.
There's been a lot of speculation. What's Joe going to do? Is he going to stay in the race? Is he going to drop out? What's he going to do? Well, here's my answer. I am running and going to win again. I'm staying in the race. I'll beat Donald Trump. I will beat him again in 2020. Well, by the way, we're going to do it again in 2024.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. All right, couple things. First of all, I hope everybody had a wonderful 4th of July weekend, long weekend. Gosh, that's probably the longest I've gone since starting this podcast without recording an episode. So Wednesday was the release of the Mac Sutter episode. Gosh, I hope you guys listened to that, and I hope it was enjoyable. That was my friend's, my junior high friend, Tracy Goling, now Tracy Sutter, whose son, Mac, he's going to be a junior in high school, and the kid's got 34 Division I scholarship offers to play tight end. And then, I didn't do a good enough job on the episode of making this known, but he hasn't played a down at tight end yet. So think about that. So literally, he has not played the position. He was their quarterback last season as a sophomore. And then basically over the offseason, they started looking at him as tight end. And that's what got crazy in his recruiting process. So anyway, it's a really fun episode. Fundamentally, he sheds a lot of light. And again, right, he's a 16-year-old kid. I actually applaud him. I thought he did really well. He told me after, he's like, I was so nervous. And that was like my first real interview like that. And I was like, dude, you did amazing. You absolutely did fantastic. So anyway, that is really interesting. Kid has not played it down at tight end, and he's got 34 D1 offers from, all the major programs, Alabama, Auburn, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, pretty much the creme de la creme. So anyway, yeah. And then Thursday was 4th of July, and then I was going to record on Friday, and then I'm like, nobody wants to hear me on the long weekend, so I didn't. So here we are on Tuesday. All right, I want to talk a few different things, and actually I want to set up the week. So, obviously coming out of the debate, there has been tremendous amount of talk and scrutiny over whether Biden's going to, step out of the race and all that. And he's been pretty defiant. I mean, that speech that he gave, was one of 3 or 4 that he went around the country pretty defiantly. And, you can tell these guys are, and when I say these guys, I'm talking about the team that kind of runs the campaign. They know what to take ownership of. So in all of the speeches that he's given post-debate, he acknowledges, I may not be, as well-spoken as I used to be. I may not be able to debate the way I used to debate. I may not be able to walk the way I used to walk, because obviously there's all these videos of him, falling down on stairs and all that stuff. But then, then he says, but I tell the truth, and Donald Trump does not do that, yada, yada, yada. But what I found, just, you really can't even script this stuff. But in that segment that I played for you, which is the segment that's getting a lot of notoriety, I don't know if you caught this part.
I'll beat Donald Trump. I will beat him again in 2020.
He literally says, I'll beat Donald Trump. I'll beat him again in 2020. Obviously, we are not in 2020. We're in 2024. He did go on right after that. It seemed like he actually realized what he said, and so then he added, the 2024 verbiage as well. But anyway, I thought that was a perfect, almost like, not analogy, but almost representation of this entire thing. In your rebuttal speech, you make a gaffe like that, referencing saying, well, beat him again in 2020, when obviously we're in 2024. So, here's why I want to finish out on the Biden stuff for now. I honestly don't know what's going to happen. I've talked for a long time. Honestly, I've tried to go back and look at when I first introduced this It's been a while. It's been 6 to 9 months that I said, hey, I don't think he's going to be the nominee. I've really brought up Gavin Newsom and Michelle Obama. I haven't brought Hillary's name up much, which is now being thrown around because I just think there's so many people that just do not like her. And there's a lot of people that don't like Kamala and Gavin Newsom even. Maybe not as many people that don't like Michelle Obama, but really besides those four names, Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan's name's getting thrown into the mix a little bit, but I just don't see it. And quite frankly, I don't see it being Michelle Obama if there's going to be a change. I really do think Gavin Newsom's, if not going to get subbed in this time, I think he is definitely the golden child in the future for the Democratic Party as of right now. But again, who knows? Maybe Biden's going to be able to just keep doing kind of what he's doing. Maybe they'll end up canceling this second debate. Remember, there is a second debate that is scheduled. I think it's scheduled for September. Hold on, let me look. All right, so it's Tuesday, September 10th on ABC. I mean, that's a long ways away. And, who knows? A million things can happen between now and then to where maybe there is not a second debate, because obviously the fallout from this first debate, was not good. And I don't think it's something they're interested in having happen again as we get even closer to November being in September. But maybe that gets canceled. Maybe, remember 2020. And actually, one thing I will do at some point is I'm going to replay the episode that I did, which talked about the Bernie's blackout of 2020, because again, nobody remembers this, and I don't blame anyone. By the way, I'm just saying this is a fact. Bernie Sanders was winning comfortably in 2020. Right before COVID happened. And then as soon as COVID happened, the wheels came off the bus. And so not only was Bernie winning in 2020 comfortably, I think Amy Klobuchar and then Pete Buttigieg were 2 and 3. And Biden was like a distant 4th at that time. I'm talking late February, early March, after I believe there was one Democratic debate. I'm going to go pull some footage from that too, because that was pretty insane, I remember. But anyway, after I think they realized Bernie Sanders has no chance against Trump, that's when, let's say, potentially some plans got put in motion. But I will say the plans of, and if you don't want to go there, and you know what I'm saying about there, the plans of making Biden the guy, I do think that got put in motion. And that movie, Bernie's Blackout, which really showed how the media completely blacked him out, I think that was incredibly well done and something that absolutely, is a real situation. So at some point I'll replay that episode with some commentary. Anyway, let's see what happens. Let's see what is going to be the case. I think at this point, Biden would either personally have to step down. There would have to be a force de majeure situation, something that is out of anyone's control. That's most likely something health related, whether that's, I don't know, stroke, heart attack, and then obviously, God forbid. I don't wish that. I don't wish the last ultimate thing on anybody. I don't, regardless of how I feel about that person. But again, if any of that stuff took place, then obviously they'd be able to easily sub it out. The other thing, and I'll end on this, the other thing about Gavin Newsom is he's steadfast with his support on Biden. And I've said this before, I think that is absolutely on purpose. I think that is, he's the company guy right now. He's the team player right now. Absolutely. There will be no clip ever that can be shown that says Gavin Newsom kind of like, saw weakness and took advantage. Absolutely not. He is the company guy right now. He's towing the company line. He's talking the company talk. And so if he did end up, getting the call from the bullpen, he can say, hey, I've said the entire time I'm 100% supportive of President Biden, but now that XYZ has happened, I am absolutely going to step up for the good of the country and the good of the, really, he won't say the good of the party, he'll say the good of the country. Anyway, all right, that's all that. I did want to tell you guys, so moving forward this week, tomorrow's episode is going to be, actually, man, I'm doing crazy different topics. I don't know if that's good or bad. I think it's good because we go from like a rabbi to to Rich Siegel, who was, highly raw and highly emotional, kind of on the, I wouldn't say on the other side of the rabbi, but really, a Jewish person that truly believes in the distinction between Judaism and Zionism. And then we've got a 16-year-old Mac Sutter. And then tomorrow's episode is going to be with Lauren Callahan. It's going to talk all about gut health. I've wanted to do that as a deep, shallow dive health episode for a long time. And then Lauren was awesome. She really just explained and helped kind of demystify a lot of the things related to gut health, which then could end up being related to so many different things. So that's going to be on Wednesday. And then Thursday and Friday, I am going to try to record. I'll try to actually put out the episode with Demetrius Flautis, who was the guy that I spoke with in regards to the situation in Russia and Ukraine. He's kind of an expert in Russian-Ukrainian relationships, so that was very interesting. And then, by the way, I did want to tell you guys, when most of these interviews are actually video and audio, and you can, if you did want to watch the video portion of it, you can catch the video on Spotify. It's kind of like how Joe Rogan does it, where his video ends up being on Spotify. You can actually see the video when you're watching through Spotify. And then separately, they're all loaded up on YouTube as well. So you can, watch them on YouTube. And you'll know it's a video interview when the introduction has a little more flavor to it. Like there's like an explosion at the end. There's sparks. I mean, you can even hear this stuff in the audio. And then there's there's just some animation with that introduction. When you hear that, just know that there is a video available to it. Now with Demetrius, with Professor Flautis, like a dumbass, I somehow screwed up the setting. And so that was supposed to be a video, but it's going to be audio only. So on the audio only stuff, they'll start off the way every other podcast starts off. On the video, you'll hear just a little more flavor in that opening intro. All right. So anyway, that's the week. Let me get into a couple more things. All right. So I did want to share this story. And oh my God, I literally just recorded this and somehow I deleted it. So I'm going to redo it. And maybe this is for the better. All right, I'm not going to mention any names, but long story short, I have not a very close friend, but a friend, somebody I've known from high school, and she has suffered from long COVID probably since 2021, and it's been over 3 years, and I know that because she just posted something on Facebook last week where it looked like her in the hospital again, by the way. And she said, hey, this is my view for the next 7 days. I hope to God that they figure out what's going on and I get relief from this finally. So over the past really 3.5 years, I've reached out to her several times to just, first of all, see how she's doing, check in on her, and then also say, hey, I'm not sure what kind of protocol you're doing for this long COVID, but, I will tell you, and again, this is just based on my research and what I'm finding. And, I think I'm a pretty level-headed person overall. And, ivermectin seems to be working for some people. Now, again, I don't know if it'll work for everybody. I have not dug into this clinically, but all I'm saying is that it does seem that this ivermectin drug, which obviously is ridiculously controversial. So then you have to think to yourself, okay, why is it so controversial? And that's a whole nother discussion. But anyway, long story short, over the past couple of years, I've reached out to her several times. I've sent her clinical studies. I've sent her articles. I've sent her things because obviously I think she needs to come to the conclusion that it's worth trying on her own versus just taking my opinion on it, which, by the way, another friend of mine literally just took my opinion on it and it cured his long COVID in 48 hours. How crazy is that? All right. So when she posted this, I was like, gosh, she doesn't want to hear from me anymore. Like, I've tried several times and it's always super cordial between the two of us. But again, it's always like, oh, wow, thanks for sharing. I'll take a look. I'll bring it up to my doctor next time. And like I said, I know she never does. And fundamentally, it's because she is like super left-leaning liberal, and which is fine. But like, she thinks that ivermectin is some horse dewormer, Joe Rogan / Trump / alt-right conspiracy, da-da-da-da-da-da. And again, I mean, who cares? Who cares what it is? It seems to be working for some people, and nothing you've done over the past 3.5 years has made you any better. And I mean, she has probably spent, I'm not kidding, and I'm basing this off of what she posts. I mean, she's probably spent tens, if not more, thousands of dollars trying to get herself fixed or cured. Anyway, so this time I decided to reach out to her sister, who I'm also friends with. And I said, I saw your sister's post. Gosh, I feel so terrible for her. Anyway, I've had this conversation with your sister before. It doesn't seem like it really is something she's entertaining. So I thought I would reach out to you and just share with you why I think this is worth pursuing. Again, if you decide you don't want to try it, don't, but why I think it's worth pursuing. Anyway, had a big back and forth with her sister, who definitely shares the sister's views on things, but seemed to be at least open to hearing it. Well, that was last week. So yesterday, the sister texted me and she's like, oh my God, my sister now has a blood clot from the facility that she's checked into. I'm trying to get her out of there, get her into somewhere else. This is just going south fast. And so I felt terrible. And I said, okay, gosh, I'm not sure what you want me to do about that, but I let me know if there's anything I can do. So fundamentally, I'm sharing this because, again, I just feel like we have to bring awareness to really, it's your health. Like in this situation, it's her health. And so she is literally letting her health go completely down the drain, and has for 3.5 years, by the way. And when I say long COVID debilitating, I mean, she's posted things where she's like, okay, I just got out of the shower and did my hair, and I'm so tired I have to lie down for 2 hours, which, by the way, was exactly how I felt when I had my COVID in 2021. So I know that feeling, and man, that is miserable. Oh my God, I can't even imagine if my life was like that for the past 3 years. But anyway, I thought I'd share this story because it's very sad that she is letting really politics, and it's not even, I mean, I guess it is her politics, but it's narratives that are being created, potentially get in the way of, quite frankly, in my opinion, exploring any option whatsoever to make her feel better. Like if this was me and somebody says, you have to drink cow piss and it'll take it away, I'll be like, serve it up. I don't care what it is. Like, I will drink anything that'll make me feel better. I've been living awful for 3.5 years. I can't do this anymore, especially at a younger age. So anyway, I thought I'd share that for nothing else, just to say that when it comes to your health, again, you've got to be your own primary care protector. If there's something going on, you can't just rely on what the medical community is telling you. And you have to, search for all options. I don't know. That's the way I view it. And I wanted to, again, reinforce that with anybody listening, that I swear to God, if there's one thing I have endless passion and endless energy for, that is to help make sure you feel good. If you are giving me your time by listening to this podcast, I will absolutely give you my time whenever you need it, talking about anything related to your health, whether it's this or anything else. That is a commitment I'll absolutely make to you. So I hope she feels better. I really do. And more than anything, I hope she gets to a point where maybe she opens herself up and, dismisses this. God, it's crazy that she's letting politics get in the way of her health. But I hope she gets over that and, really looks at other options, because I'm telling you, this gal has done everything and she's got resources financially. So it's not like there's anything that she can't afford to do. So she's done everything besides this. Besides the one thing that who knows, maybe it could help. Now, here's the other thing. Maybe she tries and it doesn't do anything. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not advocating for it. All I'm saying is that there's a tremendous amount of research, not on page 1 of Google, but on page 16 of Google, there is, that if you look hard enough and you look in the right places, there are very, very credible, well-known people that seem to be getting great results with it. So anyway, all right, sharing that, moving on. Last thing for today is I want to play you this clip, and I want to introduce this because I think we're going to hear a lot about this in the next few weeks, if not months. And it's something called Project 25 that has all of a sudden, the funny thing is this thing's been around for like 2 years, I guess, but now it's all of a sudden gaining traction. Anyway, long story short, Project 2025 seems to be something that is being backed by far-right Republicans, and for all intents and purposes, it's kind of trying to rewrite government. And so now the left and everyone on that side is saying this is what's going to happen if Trump wins the election. Now, again, I've just started doing my research on this, but there's a guy I follow that I thought did a pretty good summation of where we are right now. So give this a listen in regards to this Project 2025, because I can tell you this is kind of a lightning rod of a issue that is going to be shape-shifted in the direction each side wants it to be. But I'm going to really try and dive into this one and figure out who is really responsible for this, who is backing it. Is this something that Trump is a part of? Is it not? And fundamentally, what are the tenets of it? But give this a listen, because I'd like this to be on your radar.
Donald Trump finally brought up Project 2025 today, and what he said threw some people a little bit off. He posted this earlier today on his Truth Social platform. I know nothing about Project 2025. I have no idea who is behind it. I disagree with some of the things they're saying, and some of the things they're saying are absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. Anything they do, I wish them luck, but I have nothing to do with them. If you haven't looked into Project 2025, it's basically a far-right conservative plan to change the government. There's a 922-page document you can find online that's very in detail. Section 1, taking reins of the government, focuses on a broad expansion of presidential power. Section 2, the common defense, goes into detail regarding the Department of Defense, Homeland Security, state, media agencies. Section 3, general welfare, speaks on the Department of Agriculture, Education, Environmental Protection Agency. Section 4 broadly focuses on the economy, so Department of Commerce, Department of Treasury, Federal Reserve, and ending with Section 5, independent regulatory agencies. I'll take a hunch that Trump made that statement today after Kevin Roberts, the leader of the Project 2025 movement, made a statement yesterday stating that the revolution will be bloodless if the left allows it to be.
All right, again, it's a massive document. I'm going to try and leverage ChatGPT to really figure that thing out, because I love you guys, but I don't think I'm going to read 925 pages. Not of that nonsense. All right, so anyway, Project 2025, you're probably already seeing things on it, and we shall get to the bottom of it. All right, that's it, everybody. Call a spade a spade. We'll have a good week. Tomorrow's episode with Lauren Callahan will be gut health. Let's make sure we got your gut healthy so you can not have gut issues. All right, call a spade a spade.
The ending was terrific.
This episode was brought to you by the new book, Deep Shallow Dive Into You, available now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble in hardcover and paperback. Don't forget to sign up for our new mailing list on our website at deepshallowdive.com.